Today I wanted to read a fairly long passage to you from Eusebius's church history or ecclesiastical history, the dust jacket, if you'd like to see. If you see it in a bookstore, pick it up. What I'm going to read today is the earliest known description of a Christian church. It's not the earliest church. I mean, Christians have been meeting in houses for hundreds of years. Christians had built churches, but see, they had been destroyed. And that's part of what makes this description so special. This was a very important rebuild in the city of Tyre. And so Eusebius, perhaps our finest church historian, was there at the dedication of this church, and he gives an amazing description of it. You may see my dog walking around in the background. I just want to let you know. But when I was preparing for this video, I fed this lengthy description into an artificial intelligence software because I just wanted to see what it might look like. And it generated some images for me. And so I want to show you some of those, just provide some visual interest as I read it. And we can think about what this might have looked like back then. I'm not the biggest fan of AI, so I can't even believe that I did that. So if there are some human artists that hear this description and get inspired and they want to draw or paint something, I think that'd be even better. But I still think it's pretty interesting to see what AI came up with based on this description. And it just might help put us in the mindset of being back during that time. This is the early 300s. Constantine is the emperor, and Christianity is no longer forbidden. And so the churches are beginning to be rebuilt. And that's why they're so happy about this. So let's get into this earliest known description of a Christian church building. Accordingly, the area that he enclosed was much larger, and he surrounded it all with a protective wall for safety. Then he set a portico, wide and lofty, to catch the rays of the rising sun, providing a broad view of the interior, even to those outside the sacred precincts, and catching the attention even of strangers to the faith who might be astonished at the miraculous transformation of what had been in ruins and be lured inside. I think the word lured is funny, but it's interesting. They wanted this church to be so beautiful that people wanted to come in, people who weren't Christians. So I think that's something for us to think about today. Whoever goes through the gates cannot pass immediately with unhallowed or unwashed feet into the holy places inside. He has left a very wide space between the entrances and the church itself, adorning the perimeter with 4 colonnades to form a quadrangle of columns. Between these are wooden screens of latticework, and in the middle an area open to sun and sky. There, directly in front of the cathedral, he placed fountains flowing with fresh water for entrants to purify themselves. This is the first stopping place for those who enter, enhancing the splendor and serving as a point of first instruction for those requiring it. Among porticos leading to the cathedral, he placed 3 gates on one side, the center one much higher and broader than the outer pair, and plated it in bronze, trussed with iron, and detailed reliefs so that it resembles a queen flanked by 2 bodyguards. Colonnades along both sides of the structure have similar gateways with openings atop the colonnades, adorned with exquisite wood carvings to admit still more light. The basilica itself he constructed sturdily of even costlier materials, sparing no expense. Here I need not give the dimensions of the building or describe its radiant beauty, indescribable vastness, dazzling workmanship, the loftiness that touches heaven, or the costly cedars of Lebanon that form the ceiling. The sacred word tells us even about them. The trees of the Lord shall be glad, the cedars of Lebanon that he planted. Psalm 104:16. After finishing the structure, he adorned it with lofty thrones to honor the prelates, and also with convenient benches throughout. In the middle, he placed the Holy of Holies, the altar, surrounding it with wooden latticework of marvelous artistry. Not even the floor escaped his notice, which he brightened with marble of every kind. Outside the building, he erected large halls and rooms on both sides that were skillfully attached to the sides of the basilica and shared its light. It was appropriate that the church, since her Lord had suffered death on her behalf, after which he had assumed his glorious body and transformed his flesh from corruption into incorruption, should benefit from the Savior's labors. A passage like this makes me think about art, makes me think about beauty, makes me think about how are we designing places of worship that draw people in, make them interested in what we're doing? And it makes me very grateful that I live in a place where I can worship Christ freely. And it makes me pray for those in the world who maybe are still facing persecution, that perhaps they can have a day as glorious as this one was.